Unauthorized opinions expressed on the internet would be censored.
We are live. We are live. This is real. Welcome back to Unauthorized Opinions, UOPod.com. Like, share, subscribe.
It's pure propaganda and it's super cringe, by the way.
I literally went to the polls with nothing in mind. I saw a can of orange soda in the parking lot. And I was like, yeah, there we go. An unopened can of orange soda just chilling in the parking lot. I was like, yeah, I got to vote for Trump, dude.
Your podcast sucks. It's mental, mate. It's absolutely mental.
I'll be honest, I thought it was kind of offensive when you talk so much about the Loch Ness Monster.
Political climate.
And Andrew, treat yourself, okay? Especially if you start, I don't know, getting in good with homeless people.
Unauthorized Opinions, streaming everywhere at uopod.com. Cock-a-doodly-doodly-doo, ma. Welcome back to Unauthorized Opinions. I can hear myself a lot. We are here with Louis Brackpool in the candy-painted room.
The trans room.
Trans room. One thing that you can't say in England, obviously.
No, you can't.
How was your flight? How was
awful.
Your time getting here? How long did it take you to get here?
In total, I think you're looking at around 14, 15 hours. So yeah, quite a long journey. Wasn't too bad. Got a few naps in. Listened to some Fellowship of the Ring on the old Audible. I was listening to Lord of the Rings.
You haven't heard Lord of the Rings? You needed it read to you? You've seen the movie.
Obviously, extended. But, you know, I wanted to listen to the Audible because I haven't read the books properly. So I listened to a bit of that. Bit of house music. That numbed my mind for the for the 8-hour flight, and then stop over at Montreal where people insisted I have to speak French instead of English, which was a bit weird.
It's weird. I'm looking left on here, but I'm actually looking at you. I should just pretend to look at you like that. So just look at the camera like a freak, I guess. We've got a lot to get to. Well, not a lot. We got some serious stuff and we've got some fun stuff. If people remember when Avi and Minnie and you were in Switzerland?
Yep.
Davos. At the WEF.
Davos.
I don't know why I'm saying it like a French person, but in Davos, Avi spoke to a guy named Nos Daily, who's some YouTuber. You'll never hear of him unless you're some sort of, like, I don't think anybody probably watches this guy.
No.
Hearsay, Your Honor, not admissible in court. I don't know for truths, but I don't think anybody ever watches this guy. It's just like he's establishment talking points, cheesiest YouTuber possible. And Avi talks to this guy about, he was like getting sponsorship money from the World Economic Forum, wasn't he?
It's insane. An insane sort of sponsorship anyway. So basically the enemy.
So he's doing promotional things, saying how great the World Economic... It's just guys who get... I think he's Arab. Just guys who get together and they... now he's turning French. But he's basically said in those videos that, you know, the World Economic Forum is just a bunch of lovely people who get together to talk about climate change and not a bunch of evil people who decide policy for their countries and companies deciding policy together without the input of the people and implementing it, like lockdowns, like digital currency. What else do they talk about in the World Economic Forum?
You know, just all the usual stuff really. Wanted to take control, 15-minute cities. That's a big one.
If you could look up sometimes for the audience, that'd be great.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking over at you, mate.
And the ground for some reason.
No, I'm thinking. 15-minute cities, that's a big one. But
so you put me on to this video, as the English say.
Yes.
And what's this about? How do you set this up?
Okay, so Nas Daily did a video. This is quite relatively old. I think this is 2021. This came out, I believe, or however many years ago.
2020.
Oh, 2020. Okay, even older.
Right before lockdown.
Just before, and he made a video about how white is London, and he's basically, well, I'll let the video do the talking, but this is relatively old, but you haven't seen it, so I thought I'd share it with you.
If it isn't obvious, I'm not white, I'm brown. And growing up in the Middle East, I thought white people lived in places like London.
They do, don't they?
Well, they're a minority
live
now.
In places like London.
Yeah, well, they're a minority now, but yeah.
But now that I'm a grown-up in London, I realized I was wrong. London is not white. Turns out British white people in London are the minority, and the majority
India,
France,
Senegal.
people from all races and colors. This place has 300 languages spoken, a mayor of a Pakistani origin, and an Indian meal of tikka masala, considered by some to be a national dish. National dish?
My name is Black Lion, right? Black Lion from Jamaica.
Places like London make me happy because
That's really weird. So he prefaces this by saying how London is not white, even though it is. I grew up thinking these countries were white. They were. And he goes there and he just talks about how non-white it is, but also at the same time, like this is so ignorant from so many levels because everyone who's not white is just the same. It's like we've got a Jamaican guy, we've got Pakistani people, and that just all that matters is they're not white. Let's group everyone together that's not white. And then he goes on to say, Lewis, that he loves cities like this.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's celebrating the idea that the native population is diminishing, which, you know, can you imagine if, you know, we did that to a country, let's say like Nigeria or something, and the Nigerian native population was shrinking and white British people were there going, and then I sort of went and did a travel tourism video about Nigeria and said, look at all these white British people in Nigeria, it's fantastic, look, they done this, they done that. Like, obviously native people from Nigeria are obviously going to be a bit upset with that, be a bit sort of confused by it. So yeah, celebrating the diminishing of the white British population from the capital city.
the more colors, culture, and languages you can fit in a city, the more people can call this place home. I'm not white, but in London, I feel at home.
This is such a weird thing to care about, though. It's like you need to go to another country that's not traditionally white, and you need it to not be white and to feel at home. Let's go to Japan. Let's go to, like you said, Nigeria, Ethiopia. Celebrate that it's no longer the way that it was. And that's, you could only say that about white people. And it's also, I find, racist to be like, let's categorize everybody as white and non-white. And their argument, of course, would be like, well, that's how it was for so long. I mean, but also England was the Great Britain was the first people to stop doing that at the same time. So on one hand, you've got blaming the country for not being, you know, diverse enough, but also they were the first people to start being diverse and stop slavery and all these other things. What country is he from? Do we know?
Palestine, I believe. I believe he's from Palestine.
We'd have to believe Palestine exists then. When it was getting spicy here.
Spicy.
2 big screens. Yeah, but like, how would he feel if a Jewish person went to Palestine and said, "Wouldn't it be nice? Isn't it awesome that there isn't a bunch of Palestinian people here?" Why does the race of the people you're going matter? Like, that's the weird thing. Like, why would you care about that? I don't get it.
No, neither do I. Like I say, he's celebrating the idea of just, you know, the native population becoming a minority. I think that's pretty strange. There's been some other commentators, people like that, celebrating that, the idea of, you know, the native population shrinking, which I just find is a bit odd, really. I've always found it a bit strange. But hey ho, free speech, I guess. If we've even got that anymore.
You tweeted at some point over this weekend. The last time I visited Canada, let's blow this up a bit. No pun intended. The last time I visited Canada was 2 years ago, and since then I noticed how much mass immigration has significantly increased in Toronto. I barely recognize some of the areas we drove through after checking the statistics. It turns out my observations were accurate. So 1952 to 2023.
I mean,
that's painful.
Yeah, that's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that this stuff started with Justin Trudeau's father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau. He was the first one to say, hey, let's stop focusing on European countries and focus more on... he had a deal with some African guy called the Aga Khan where he rescued he took in a bunch of Muslim African refugees. They ended up building a museum after that guy for some reason. They also give them government contracts. So he's the one that started it. And he didn't just say, hey, let's even it up. Let's get people from Sweden and Norway and Ireland and also a bunch of other countries. He went with, let's completely flip it on its head. And of course, that would have been, this chart doesn't even show it how far back. That would have been around this area. And
you can see the trend starts.
Exactly. And, people aren't racist. We talk to people here all the time that are, our black neighbors. We know some Dominican. We've got Portuguese. Mm-hmm. I know several Italians. I don't know how many races I'd need to name here to not sound racist, but basically everyone in Canada notices this. All of the people who come here notice this, and it's significantly gotten more the case in the last couple of years, where not only is there just a lot more people here, they're all of Indian descent to the point where it's 85% Indian, and then you've got white and black people unable to afford houses. We were driving today, Lewis, and I saw a black family waiting for the bus, and I was like, I would like it if they could afford, a family of four could afford a car, but they can't in this economy. And people will say Canada has to grow. Canada has to be able to grow its GDP. My questions are why, who is it for, and how does it benefit us? Because if the housing prices are rising and the cost of food is rising and the cost of just general amenities and living a decent life are rising, why do we need more people? They would say the population's declining, so we need to add more people in. But if the population is declining, that's because people here aren't having kids. And why aren't they having kids is the real question that you're supposed to answer as a government for people, not just our population isn't having kids, so we have to bring in other people to replace them, as they might say. Lewis, thoughts on that?
The GDP argument has been used quite a lot, I think. It's used especially for pro-immigration, or pro-mass immigration, I should say. I should preface, in the UK. And statistics are actually showing that no, it's actually a net negative for GDP. Especially with, I think we've hit the highest, I think per capita now, the UK has the most illegal migrants within the whole of Europe, I believe now. I think per capita we're the highest. And our GDP is not great because guess what? You bring millions of people here illegally and majority of them are given handouts for a start, whether it be business grants, whether it be that's best case scenario really, and that hardly ever happens. Free mobile phone, free sort of money, accommodation. There's even videos of guys just sort of throwing cash around. It's kind of like obviously mockery, but this happens if that happens continuously. There's no work. There's nothing. What do you expect? It's just such a fallacy, the GDP argument, and you just hear it over and over again. But the statistics are saying otherwise. So
yeah, I hear that and I say that's the government just wanting to make more money and make sure they get more and more money to spend. But if there's less people, then we probably don't need to make as much money. Mm-hmm. I say that people will do these jobs if the people aren't available. See, we've never tried this thing. Conservatives even will argue this GDP argument and say that not enough people want to work here. I think that's bullshit. I think that if you have somebody doing one of these jobs for $20 an hour or whatever it is, they can't find somebody to work for them. Let's just say it's a grocery store. Then they're going to have to raise wages to appeal to more people. But traditionally, these jobs have been for teenagers and young adults, or divorcees,
uni students,
anything that you can think of where a person is willing to do a minimum wage job. Those are for people that have worked here. Yeah. Again, I know I have to preface this as no matter what the race is, because people will say, "Oh, you're racist." No, it's just in the last few years we've had tons of Caribbeans in this country, tons of Chinese people, Irish, obviously, lots of Ukrainians before the war.
Yeah.
I grew up in a city with lots of Ukrainian and Polish people. There's never been any problem. They've never been en masse like this. So now you've got people at grocery stores, gas stations, and convenience stores and fast food places that are all Indian immigrants.
Right.
And they're all hiring only their friends. And everybody will tell you this. Everybody of every race will tell you this in Canada. They're only hiring people that are of the same racism, and that's actual racism.
Right.
And at the same time, not a lot of them speak good English. So people are boycotting Tim Hortons, like our national export brand of Tim Hortons. And maybe if I turn it like this, Lewis, then it looks like I'm looking at you. Exactly. Let's see. I should have done this the whole time. People like me don't need to go to Tim Hortons anymore. They're using this temporary workers program to pay lower wages and end up having worse customer service. So I go to a place like McDonald's for my coffee now because they actually lower prices. Their people, are good workers. They're not just all one race, which is really weird if you think about it. If you go to Japan and then everybody who works in fast food is like Chinese, that would be weird. If you went to Norway and everybody was East African in a certain industry, that would be weird. And then you go to an entire neighborhood in Sweden and everybody's Belgian or something. That would be weird.
Right.
And everybody has noticed it, but people will still complain. I think, Lewis, though, to wrap that up, we're still about a year away from even being where England is on this topic.
Sure.
And where the United States is on this topic, which is somebody holding up mass deportations now.
Yeah, for sure. I know that none of your politicians are talking about it, for a start.
True.
And we've just had a mainstream politician in the UK, Robert Jenrick, who said that he wants to deport over 1 million people, illegal migrants. And that's a surprise. It's unbelievable. Like, here's the thing, though. We've had 14 years of Tory rule, and mass immigration's only gone up. But it's only when Nigel Farage turned around in a recent interview with Steve Edgington, who's fantastic at what he does, really, really great. He put the question to Nigel Farage about mass deportations, and he said, I'm not going down that route. And we all kind of sat there and went, well, I say we all, majority of us sat there and went, why are you here then? Like, what's your purpose then? Because that's what we want. We want lower immigration. We want anyone who is illegal, that has come into this country illegally, should be deported. That's just standard. And now we have a mainstream Tory leader saying, yes, I would deport over 1 million people, illegal people that have broken the law, that have broken into Britain. And obviously I don't believe it. I don't believe that it's ever going to happen. But my point is over here I've noticed that your politicians won't even talk about it, which is insane. I mean, this has been the national topic. Immigration has been the national topic in our country for quite a long time. Everyone from all sides are just noticing how it's just not being sorted, and it's continuously going up, that the boats are still coming from Calais, that people are still jumping on lorries or wherever to actually break into Britain and carry on, because they know that they can get a good welfare check, incentives. There's incentives for illegals to carry on coming into Britain. And the conversation, the rhetoric has shifted so much within Britain that, even, like I said, a mainstream politician, you cannot get more mainstream than someone who could potentially be the leader of the Tory party, who are wet liberals of this country.
What did you? They are what?
Wet liberals.
You have to explain that for the non-English audience. Weak. Okay.
Yeah. They're basically weak liberals. They're not conservatives at all. It's the uni party, as people call it, Labour and Conservative. They're the same party, because you vote for one, you get the same thing. At the moment, I mean, our government's terrible with Keir Starmer, even worse. But you vote for one, you get the same. So yeah, meaning the uni party. But yeah, going back again, I mean, your politicians, even Pierre Polyev, I don't think he's even talking about deporting any illegals, is he?
No, not at all. And I wanted to bring up one of his commercials. He's doing for the easy stuff, which is smart. And I have a friend that says, oh, he's saving it for when he's elected. I would call that lying. But I get why he's not doing it. He talks about building homes. I want to know if they're townhomes or freehold standalone homes. And he doesn't talk about deportations. He doesn't talk about immigration at all because he wants their votes. What he talks about now is jobs, building homes, and getting rid of the carbon tax, which are all good, but he comes across as a person who's afraid to be mean, which we all know is the thing that makes the world go round right now. Here are one of his commercials. I just want to point out how it's weird to see a politician. He's got like 5 different commercials where he just does like voiceovers, like acting. Like I went to radio school. This takes a lot of practice to be able to do good voiceover work. And he's doing it a lot. He's acting in commercials. Traditionally, you'd see politicians, they have footage of them on a job site or at a campaign rally, and you'd hear a quote from them or something, and then at the end they'd say, I approve this message. His are just all voiceovers and acting. Watch this.
Who is Pierre Polyev? Many know him as the common sense leader the country needs. His school teacher parents know him as the boy they adopted and raised in their modest home in the suburbs of Calgary. His dad knows him as the son he took to early morning hockey games. His neighbors know him as the boy who used to deliver the morning newspaper. His children know him in Francais, Espanol, and English as Papa. And I know him as a guy who loves me for who I am, a Canadian who came to call Canada home, and his wife. So when Pierre says, it doesn't matter who you know or where you're from, but rather who you are and where you're going, these aren't just empty words. He's lived it. Common sense. Let's bring it home.
See, that's all acting.
Yeah, that's it's trying to. The thing is with politicians, they're all very, very plastic, aren't they? And they have to act normal in order to sway people into believing they're normal. I mean, that's just like a way to try and say I'm relatable. I'm a relatable person. I do normal things like normal people, but really you're acting. Just act normal. Just be normal. You don't need to act like it. You are human.
He hired 2, and I complain about this a lot. My friends don't like that I complain about it. Dave and our other friend, that I say he's got 2 stylists that he uses, and they got him to take off his glasses that he wears. Right. And I think a real man doesn't need a regular old guy doesn't exactly need 2 stylists to tell him to start acting less like a nerd and then doing like commercials. That's basically what they did. Is they tried to make him look hotter,
more macho.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw the Apple thing as well.
Canadian scurvy case raises questions over food insecurity. So, for those who don't know, scurvy is when you don't have any vitamin C, Lewis.
It's insane.
Like pirates would get it, people traveling at sea a long time ago.
Sure.
And that's when they started discovering lemons, and that they could have those on the ships and just eat a little bit. A Canadian woman didn't have access to fresh food, study says.
Not good.
Now, I'm low socioeconomic status considered ubiquitous risk factor for scurvy. Now, my personal opinion is that's just a person who doesn't want to eat any fruit. And
that's insane.
So I don't necessarily blame, like, the food is there. It's a bit more expensive, but if you are just buying fruit, you can buy fruit. I don't think it's a problem, but I bring this up because there are food banks in Canada that are used by the same mass immigration that we're seeing, and food banks are at an all-time low, and these are the things that we have to deal with now. Is
do you say that they're at a full-time low, meaning stock, or less people using them, or is
more people using them?
Right.
So it's a big problem. I can pull that up. I don't know if you guys face anything like that.
Food banks, yeah. There's a lot of people that have to use it now, especially with inflation at the minute, especially with the way the economy's going, and people just can't afford stuff. It's just insane, absolutely insane. So yeah, it's at a high as well.
I could just Google stuff and find it, but that's like the Destiny way of doing things.
It is.
I heard a quote Googling IamCorrect.com
all the time.
Let's move on to more fun stuff. And before we get on to stuff that'll get you arrested, possibly, we have been talking about this recently, about how old Call of Duty and, SOCOM and other video game lobbies they were the Wild West back in the day when we were younger. And then they started doing, reporting, I think Xbox voice tracking and stuff like that, where if somebody reported you, it would record your last 20 minutes or whatever it is, 15 minutes.
It's terrible.
Why do you and the one I've played for our friends, and I'll find that while you're talking, was a modern one. Actually, I think I have it saved. That's how much I liked it. Why do you think it's changed so much? Our generation was ruthless in online games.
Yep.
And now it's sort of just like, hey, how you doing?
Because people are afraid of hurty words. Is the kind of, the main point of it. Our culture has changed. Western culture has changed so drastically over the past 10, 15 years. I mean, even back when we were 15, 16, you're in a COD lobby or whatever, and people would just say the worst things. It was basically like hooliganism, but for the online sort of realm. And yeah, people don't like that anymore. I say people don't like that. People love that still. There's so many people who want to get back into the COD lobby language and using all of that. But people are, because of the culture, because of clampdown, because of government intervention, due to activists getting involved with people's speech, you're now seeing, I think people are starting to just think, okay, I've got to tone it down now, or I've got to be really, really careful with what I'm saying online, because now that there is legislation passed across the board, all these countries taking on the same type of legislation, policy, whether it be through misinformation or just hate speech laws, people can go to jail for this stuff now. I don't know, being really mean to someone online, or even if they're having a bit of a scrap, online, it takes a viewer to say, I don't like what this person says, report them, and that's it, done. Didn't PlayStation Network do a massive thing about people acting in this certain way, and it would completely ban their account and they can listen in to people's chats?
That's what I was just saying about Xbox.
Yeah, same.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure PlayStation probably does this.
I was going to say PlayStation, it actually reports users to a server or some sort of stuff, and it's really serious.
I was banned from
so encroaching.
I was banned from PlayStation once when I was 17 for talking too much shit on a forum. That's right, a forum, ladies and gentlemen.
Brilliant.
This video will showcase modern, I guess, children or whomever playing games versus how it was.
Okay.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
Not much. Just hopping on for the first time today, so I'm probably gonna be absolute garbage.
Nah, you'll be good, bro. You'll be good. You having a good time, though? This game mode fun?
So I want to... Wait, so that was 2024. The guys, if you couldn't hear it too well, if you're in your car or something, they're saying, oh, this is my first time in a while. I'm probably going to suck. And then somebody goes, wow, don't worry about it. You'll probably be good. You'll probably be better than you think. And then this is now... what year to 2011, I think they said?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, man. Look at your prestige. Prestige, you fucking... Tell me what the fucking use, huh? Tell me what the fucking use, huh? Tell me what the fucking use is for the fucking game, and I'll fucking hurt you. You fucking cocksucker.
We've all heard
do
the
a lot
same
of bleeping.
guy. We've all heard that same guy, though. Not literally, but the same guy talk that. There's so many more other ones. I think that one was featured in this one. I think we get the gist of it, though.
The Americans love doing that. They really get into it. or used to get into.
Shoot a gun, dog. Learn how to fucking shoot a gun. You fucking riot shield. What else? Oh, riot shield. I'm a pussy that use riot shield.
Oh, I've heard that. They've AI'd that on Trump.
Look at you, you're 10-15. 10-15, you fucking fat.
That's the same one.
Tell me what to...
Get my dick in your ass. You little fucking prick.
Why do you want to know if I was my dick, you fucking homo?
Bro, one, go find a girlfriend.
You go smoke a crack.
This one's great.
The day that you
why don't you learn how to talk to you fucking douchebag?
the day
Oh, you get girls. You get girls, you fucking stupid bitch.
I go to school with this kid, AC Dodgers. Ask him if I get girls.
Okay, I'll go somehow ask your buddy if you get girls, you fucking.
Ask him.
Oh man, that's great. All right.
Yeah, it's good fun, wasn't it?
All right, so we're
The good old days.
Yeah, we're gonna play a game now called "Would This Get You Arrested in England?" So I'm going to say a bunch.
I'm not looking forward to this.
I'm going to. This is obviously. I don't know if we can even release the uncensored version of this. Can we?
No.
No. Okay, so we'll be censored.
Well, I don't know what you're going to say,
No,
but I'm
you
going to
don't.
presume no.
Yeah, it's safe to presume no. So unfortunately, even Patreon subscribers can't hear it. Because literally you'll be arrested, no?
So just to preface then, right, so in my country, Great Britain, not so great at the minute, so just Britain, right, has the most insane...
Just Britain. We've dropped the greatness,
We've
bro.
dropped the
We've
great.
decided to get rid of great, and we're just going with Britain from now on.
Just all right Britain for now, right? So, in my country... they have the worst hate speech laws I think ever. I've seen online like people having visits from the police for posting tweets. Something called non-crime hate incidences is the biggest one, where people will post, I don't know, a spicy meme on Facebook, on social media, and receive calls or receive visits from police. Counter-terrorism as well. There's a recent case of a... read some of this? Yeah. Crown Prosecution Service crackdown. In 2017, the CPS launched a crackdown on hate speech online, treating online hate crimes as seriously as street-based offences. The policy update aims to address the mounting number of cases sparked by abuse on social media, covering various forms of hate crime, including religious, racist, disability, homophobic, biphobic, and transphobic abuse. Arrests for online crimes of speech. Between 2010 and 2013, arrests for aggressive, threatening, or hateful speech on social media declined. However, the numbers rose again in 2016 with... I don't know why I'm laughing. It's like, oh, it died down, then suddenly it went back up again for some weird reason. With 625 arrests made for alleged Section 127 offences.
Because of Trump.
Yes, because of Trump.
Right, maybe I should like cover my mouth. If I go right behind the microphone, I don't know if people will be able to hear what I say or see what I say. But all right, like this.
So essentially, like, and the thing is about this, right? There's one thing like just being outright hateful. Should someone go to prison for it? I don't think so, personally. I think that's silly. I think if you believe in freedom of speech and expression, like in a high trust society, it would be a community based. You'd sort that out via your community. You wouldn't sort it out via the law. That's how I see things. Is if someone's being mean and nasty to someone, you don't just send the bobbies round to and drag someone through the courts for, I don't know, posting a horrible thing on Facebook. That's mental. Come on. Like, that's silly. But it seems to me that this piece of legislation, which dates back to Tony Blair, the Communications Act of 2003, is being used as a weapon against people to shut people down for even just criticism, and that's now considered hate speech. Criticising people, whether it be criticising gender ideology or religious, anything to do with religious, except if you're a Christian, by the way. You can have a pop at Christians all you want.
Well,
you can mock Christians to till the cows come home. But any other religion, no, you can't do that. No, it's not on. So that's the backstory.
You want to rotate?
So you're going to get me arrested by
so
saying something. By the way, before we
rotate the chair a little bit there, so you're more in it. I don't know.
Like that way.
Yeah, lean
like
over
that?
to your right.
Oh,
you're right. There you go.
So I want to preface as well. I disavow everything this man is going to say because I don't know what he's going to say, but I'm going to make a judgment on whether I would be arrested or not if I was to say this. I'm not going to say it. I don't believe any of this.
True.
I'm prefacing just in case something will happen.
To be clear, we have hate speech laws here, but I don't think unless you were just like writing somebody death threats with like slurs in it, I don't think you'd be as we discussed earlier today, our countries they focus on different areas to be terrible in. Ours is mass immigration, and
ours is that as well.
Yeah, well, we suck right now. Great Britain was never great, mate. It was never
great.
great.
It was great, and then
we let the Geordies in. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so let me do that so I can see. I can cover my mouth here. All right, the first statement is, look right in the camera, please. These our country.
Yeah, you're going straight to prison for that. Yeah, I can't even. I'm sweating at that one. You're bleeping this all out, right?
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, you're going straight to prison for that.
I think we should Zimbabwe. That one's not as bad.
The abbreviation of that word. Yeah, because that's considered a slur.
Great.
So, yeah, that's prison time. That's prison time for that one.
This is so stupid. How can I get right behind the mic for this one like I'm a rapper so you can't see my
I'm
mouth?
actually cringing. I'm
That's
sweating.
Fair. They're way stealing our land. That's pretty tame. That's just a critique, really. That's just an opinion.
I don't know about that one. I'm undecided.
Oh, we've got an undecided.
I'm undecided
here.
On that.
Don't worry, we got a couple more. It'll be even worse.
Right.
I better cover my face for this. Our children.
So even laughing, I don't know whether I'm going to go to jail for even laughing. That's so outright.
Because somebody out there would be like, "This is what he said, bruv. Get him."
Yeah. Yeah, you go.
This is a good time to let everybody know that Lewis was on the latest season of Doctor Who.
No, it wasn't.
The one that was very controversial with the new actor.
No, it wasn't.
When there is a gay bar scene, Lewis is in the background of one of the guys dancing. Not to be confused with when he was on Downton Abbey seasons 2 and 3, right?
Do you know, this man makes up me being on shows, British shows, and then people end up searching for it, so it comes up on the if you type in my name, it comes up with the shows, because people type it into Google and then he gets a kick out of it. That's why he does this. Are you actually Downton Abbey?
That's close enough.
No,
that's not close enough. It was 2 years ago, though. I think we had.
Wait, get rid of Downton or the Dount.
Twitter, Lewis Bracken, Flowers and Johnson.
I don't know what that is.
No. All right, let's get back to
mean words.
Yeah, I turned you off there. Let's get back to the mean words of it all. All right, 2 more to go, I think, here. No, that was the second last one. We got 1 more. No, 2 more, yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Schools are trying to teach kids.
Yeah, you go in prison. Yeah. Well, like I keep saying, the abbreviation or the shortening of that turns it into a slur. What about
the other one, the one that started, the second one there? I can't even say it.
Yeah.
Can't say that?
No, because that's a slur.
Okay.
You can't say that.
Okay, how are you supposed to describe somebody from like 1991 with a jean jacket on? If you can't say that. Okay. Last one here. I don't believe Caitlyn Jenner. And I think it's actually.
You wouldn't go to prison for that.
No, that one. So
I don't think you would. Say it again.
I don't believe Caitlyn Jenner is and I wouldn't call and I don't think...
Yeah, that's fine.
Interesting.
That's fine.
So we've got 4 definitelys, 1 maybe, and 1 fine. So do you want to leave the last one unbleeped?
Probably not. Just to be safe. Because I'm not well versed in the law.
Unauthorized opinions. Thank you, Lewis Brackpool.
Yeah.
We can't uncensor that or else Lewis will go to jail. We do have a podcast that we had never aired from like 2 years ago or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you recall. We didn't air a podcast because we were afraid you might get arrested.
Oh, really? Well, I didn't say... I don't think I said anything. I disavow everything this man has said. So...
UOPod.com, patreon.com/UOPod. Lewis Brackpool on Twitter. That's all it is, right?
That's all it is. And Instagram.
Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Check him out this week in hate speech magazines everywhere.
Yeah.
Wherever those are published. Austria, probably.
Turn it up, Jordan.